Welcome to Conway Video. I wanted to do a little bit of a gratitude video. I might find myself doing a few of these over time, but anyway, this is just the first the first video I wanted to do. So there's this idea in psychology, it's a bit of a meme, but there's this idea of gratitude, right? That we should practice gratitude because it's good for mental health and it makes us feel better, and it's just an all-round good healthy thing to practice, just kind of like meditation or eating healthy or exercising or whatever. So I've been experimenting with this, and now and then, not every time, because sometimes you can be over grateful, but I think some things I have found that I can be genuinely grateful for, and they're things I kind of put it this way, they're things that are really good. They're so good that I don't actually notice how good they are. This is the thing. And so by noticing how good they are and actually going a bit deeper into how good they are, I come out of it feeling like, feeling just, I don't know, happier, just better. I feel like, wow, it's like winning the lottery, right? Before you won the lottery, you had like $10 in the bank. And after you won the lottery, you had like $1 million in the bank. So this gratitude, it gives me that kind of high that you might get if you've won the lottery. But the thing is, I think that high is really good and healthy because it's free, right? That high doesn't come with like a crash. There's no kind of crash to feeling gratitude, right? Because there's no kind of someone yanking away that thing that you thought you have most of the time. If you're grateful about the right things. Now, obviously, you don't want to be maybe grateful about the stock market going up, because the stock market might go down tomorrow and then your gratitude will kind of dry up. But there are some things that kind of tend to be pretty stable, I would say, and those are good candidates for gratitude. And so I was just thinking about three kind of things that I've been feeling grateful about and meditating about lately. And they really are things that are meaningful. They're not just sort of, oh, I'm glad the sun is shining today and something like that. Like, these are three like real, genuine, tangible things that have like had a definite influence on my life to date, and probably a lot of other people's lives. And so I thought I'd rattle on about those things a bit, but maybe you can also relate to those things, and you can also kind of see an opportunity for gratitude in those. And again, it's about kind of giving yourself this nice, pleasant high, and feeling like you've gotten something, and then at the end of it, you haven't lost anything. There's no crash, right? It's not like you had, I don't know, a lot of alcohol or a bunch of drugs, or like you had tons of coffee and then you come crashing down at the end of it. This is kind of like at the end of gratitude, you're just like, oh, I'm more grateful. So, without further ado, number one, passport. I'm actually really grateful for having a passport. Um, I remember when I got my passport, I think I went online to some website and filled out my details, and then I booked an appointment and went in, and there was some government official there, and they got my details and fingerprints and different things, and then eventually I got a letter in the mail saying, hey, we've got your passport, come pick it up. And so I went into the office and picked it up, and that was that. And I remember I probably, it was a long time ago, but I vaguely remember like flicking through the book and just feeling it over and just being kind of a little bit fascinated. And just coming back to this lately, I'm again a little bit fascinated. Like, what fascinates me about the passport is, um, so like your parents gave birth to you, right? Your mum gave birth to you. You exist. You were born into a family, and then at some point you got a job and you went out there and got your own place, maybe, or whatever, and you started to set your life up, and then at some point in your life you got this thing called a passport, and imagine how much this thing means. Like, it means that like the country you live in, um, the country you were born into, the nation that you're born into, acknowledges you. Like, individually, they acknowledge you as like, hey, you are one of us. Not you belong to us, not like we can do whatever we want with you. No, you are one of us. Like, you are part of this nation. And as a part of this nation, here we award you this document. And this document you can take around with you wherever you travel in the world and show it to them. And that document says, hey, this person, Jonathan or whoever it is, this person is part of this country of wherever you happen to be from. And this is assuming your country issues passports, which most countries do. But anyway, so this country, like, we say that this guy is one of our guys or this girl is one of our girls, and like, be nice to this person. You can actually see it in most passports. There's a little bit of text somewhere in whatever language, and it says, generally be nice to this person, like treat them well, don't detain them without a warrant, and please allow them safe passage and so on. And I just thought that's quite an amazing thing, like quite apart from the utilitarian benefit. Like obviously there's a utilitarian benefit to a passport. It has utility. You can take the passport and you can go here, you can go there, and you can use the passport as identity as well to open bank accounts or whatever. So it's a useful thing. But even beyond the usefulness, it's kind of an amazing thing and something I think to be grateful for, that this kind of massive, enormous group of people that forms up a nation, and all the infrastructure and the government and the corporations and the companies and the people in that nation, they have all somehow configured themselves in such a way that you, just one insignificant person in that country, gets your own document that says, we as this whole massive group of people, or maybe it's not that massive, maybe it's just the people who were in government and in power at that time and made the law, but whatever it is, whoever those people are, those people decided that you as an individual get to have this document. You can take it wherever you want. It's small enough to fit in your backpack or whatever, and you can take this anywhere you want. This is your document, and this basically says, be nice to this person, allow them safe passage, let them into the country. They are a citizen of our country. I just think that's amazing. It's an amazing thing about the modern world, and it is relatively modern. There was a time like hundreds of years ago where, I guess, from what we know, such documents wouldn't have been as widespread and as available as they are now. And there are times and places where you wouldn't have had any document, and the best you would have had is maybe that people in a nearby village kind of knew about your village, and they knew who your parents were, and if your parents were important enough, then maybe they thought, okay, we probably should be nice to this person. And if not, maybe all bets were off. Maybe you had no guarantee of your safety. And I just think it's an incredible thing in the modern world, and I hope it sticks around, but it's an incredible thing that a lot of us do have these documents, these passports, that we can take around, and those passports are just for us, and they just say, here's a document that says that this person is like one of us. I think it's incredible. Anyway, two other things: salaries and the police. Salary, I think it's an incredible thing that you can go and work in an office or wherever you work for some random person who you may not have ever met, who you may have nothing to do with, who your family may have nothing to do with their family. You may be a different ethnicity, you may have a completely different origins. And you can go in and work in this place, and this person or group of people is going to get together and add you to this thing called a payroll, and they're going to give you money through that. They're going to pay into your bank account. And what does that mean? That means they are basically giving you a gift. They are giving you something that you can then go. And the incredible thing is, they're not just giving you a gift. They're not just giving you here's some food, or here's some lodging or shelter or whatever. They're giving you something that is so powerful and flexible that you can do anything you want with it. That money that you get from that person, you can buy food with that. You can go travel to a different country with that. You can buy an airplane ticket. You can buy a train ticket, a bus ticket. You can buy accommodation. You can if you make enough money, you can get better accommodation. If not so much, maybe you can get smaller accommodation. You can save that money, you can invest that money and trying to build wealth with that money. But it's just an incredible thing, I think, apart from, again, the utility or the usefulness of money, which we know what its uses are, right? But we can step back and think of the symbolic value of that salary, the symbolic value of not just that they chose you for the job, they hired you, and maybe you weren't the best candidate, maybe you were the best candidate. But putting all that aside, just the incredible phenomenon that someone can give you this gift. Someone or some group of people can choose, hey, this person, Jonathan, or whatever your name is, we're going to give you this gift. And this gift is flexible. You can do whatever you want with it. You can spend it however you want. But we're giving it to you because, as a token of gratitude, or as a token that we think you deserve this thing in exchange for you doing this amount of hours and this amount of effort and giving of yourself this amount of your life to us. We will in turn give you something that is useful to you and that you can use in a way that makes your life better, whether that's like food or gym membership or housing and all of the above. I think that's quite amazing that, again, it's something we're born into. It's something we're just so used to. Our parents had salaries. We have salaries. Our grandparents probably had salaries. And so we just think, oh yeah, salaries, that's normal. But it's just amazing to meditate a bit on this and think, how awesome is it that we actually have this thing called salaries in the first place? Like, what did people do before salaries? It was probably, better for some people and worse for other people, but at the end of the day, you can say that salaries are a pretty incredible thing. It's pretty incredible that someone who doesn't know a thing about you, almost, someone who's maybe not even met you, would like click a few things on a computer and decide, okay, let's send this money to this person and let's send that money to that person as a salary. I think it's amazing. Last thing is police. And I won't spend too much time on it because you can probably guess by now what I would say. But all I would say is, God bless them. Thank God for the police. It's good to have them around. Are they perfect? No, no one's perfect. Do they always catch the crook? No. Do they? Are they all police honest? No, some of them are not good. But let's just say, generally on the whole, the police are a damn good thing. I'm damn glad that we've got police around, and it's sometimes you see them in action. Sometimes you see them actually kind of helping out when there's a tough situation. Sometimes you kind of just see them doing something a bit more. Not they're not so actively involved. They're just kind of standing there looking at things, making sure everything's in order. Maybe there's a protest on the street and the police are just kind of there making sure that things are okay and that, shop windows aren't being smashed and that sort of thing. But you just look at them there and you just think these people really exist. Like, it's not just a fiction that there are police who kind of help to preserve the order. Like, there is this thing called the public order and there is this thing called the police who protect it. It's all real. It's not just imaginary. People talk about it and it just sounds like, oh yeah, in theory, yeah, that all makes sense. But you just think, is that actually real? And then sometimes you see the police out there doing their job and you think, that's real. That idea of there being a public peace, a public order, or of you having certain kind of rights that someone can't just, walk up and punch you in the face or whatever, And most people wouldn't do that, but let's just reflect on how it's a cool thing that there are people out there and they don't always catch the crooks. But here's the thing, it's just a cool thing that there are people out there who do care about that, who do care about you being safe, about me being safe, about there being a public order. And they care enough about it that they are physically out there, that some group of people got out of bed this morning, put on the uniform and went out there, and they care about it enough. And yeah, they're being paid a salary, but all that aside, they chose that as a career. They chose to build a career around serving the public, serving the interests of like keeping everyone safe, keeping all the contracts safe, and maintaining generally a public order. So anyway, those are the three things I find I'm very grateful for these days: passports, salaries, and the police. They're pretty simple, basic things, but as you've already seen, you can get pretty deep into like the significance of these things, even quite beyond their utilitarian value. Thanks for watching.